Welcome to the third part in our series on Amazon and marketplaces and how to make the most out of your activity there. In this third part, we are going to be talking about advertising on Amazon, and hopefully by the end of this session, one, you'll understand the benefits and the use cases for advertising on Amazon. You will feel more confident with the types of advertising that are possible on the Amazon platform, and also a little insight into how to drive greater success for clients. On the agenda, we're just going to run through why advertising on Amazon is a good thing to do, what you typically use when advertising on Amazon, how we broadly approach an account structure and how to kind of build your campaign structure, and then also how to use data, so use the targeting and intelligence tools to give you the insight to improve matters. Thank you. So to start with, I guess the most important facet to understanding Amazon is it is not just a shop. It's not just e-commerce. It is a media ecosystem entity in its own right. And Amazon have, over the years, built up the capability to advertise both on the platform, which are called sponsored advertising, sponsored products, which we'll come on to, which you'll see on the left-hand side there. And those formats typically can be used to address all parts of the funnel. So all parts of that consumer journey when somebody arrives on Amazon, understand, how they move through the purchase funnel to actual transaction. And that side of life is addressed by what we call the on-console advertising suite. But most importantly as well is to understand that what Amazon have built, especially over the last 5 years, is the broader sort of advertising stack, the broader capability of tools which you can use to attract users and purchasers from across the web. And that is their demand side platform, the DSP, which is pretty similar to Google. But the biggest and the most important difference is that the data you're using to fuel that advertising is transactional data, versus with Google, it's intent data. But the demand side platform is a critical piece in driving greater awareness of your brand, of your products, your portfolio. But also there are a number of tools within that suite that enable you to do targeting wise what you would do in your other online advertising activity. So moving on. So what are the key differences? I mean, both Amazon sponsored product ads and also Google search ads, they sort of perform a similar role. They are both auction-based platforms. So meaning that, when you buy advertising on either Amazon or Google, ads appear when a search is performed, and you will pay on the click or the view, depending on the type that you use. Both are very much keyword search led, so it's all about keywords, and the algorithms on both platforms respond to keywords and search terms that are being used. So the idea is essentially the same on both platforms. Where the differences are quite significant, but primarily because they're at different stages of development. Google's obviously been doing this a lot longer. Is the level of sophistication in the tools that you can use on both platforms. So in the case of Google, there are a huge number of tagging and reporting capabilities. There is more automation within the setup process, and they use what's called the ad rank methodology, which helps determine the relevancy of the ads against what people are searching for. However, in the Google world, you're dealing, as we said, very much with intent data. Whereas in the Amazon world, you really are dealing with data based on what people are searching for with an intent to purchase, as well as the actual transactional data. So within the Amazon side of life, there are huge advantages in terms of your product targeting, which is unique to them, whether that be at a category level or product level, or based on ratings and reviews. The other advantages come through being a brand owner. Amazon will give you certain advantages. You're able to easily compete. Sorry, not compete. You're easily able to target competitors, which is less easy on the Google side. And you can also advertise according to the eligibility of products, and also whether you're winning or losing the buy box. Also, and I guess worth noting, is on the Amazon side of life, it is a more manual setup. It is more time consuming. There is less automation, less scheduling, and there is no location or demographic targeting. Although that's on console, within the DSP, those capabilities are indeed there, which we will come on to. So they're the fundamental differences. Thanks, Maria.
Right. So next we're going to go over what the ad units that we use to drive strategies across Amazon for our clients, and we'll take you through them one by one. The first one that we use is sponsored product, and the overall objective of this unit is to increase sales by attracting traffic through to your product detail pages. Now, there's 12 units on an Amazon page. You can see an example of one on the top right, which is highlighted, and then there's 4 next to it. There's a further 4 which come up halfway down the page, and then there's 4 at the bottom of the page as well. So the strategies that we put in place to drive success are based around 2 things. First of all, they're defensive strategies. So we need to make sure that our clients, and you need to make sure that your branded keywords are defended, that you own that, because the ad unit comes up above the organic listing. And if you don't buy your branded keyword, then your competitors will, and potentially steal the sales. So we have a defensive strategy where we buy branded keywords and also product keywords. And then we have more offensive strategies where we buy competitor keywords, where you're targeting people lower down the funnel at the purchase intent level, and also non-branded keywords as well, to sort of increase awareness and widen your scope. Secondly, we target at an ASIN level, and we target similar type products to your own. We type competitor ASINs as well, but then to also, again, to target people lower down the funnel, the intent stage, to try and steal that sale and drive traffic. And then also we target complementary type products. Thanks, Maria. And then finally, we target in the wider categories, because within Amazon, there's over 60 tier 1 categories. And within those categories, there's multiple subcategories. And quite often, products sit within a subcategory. So it might be, and as an example, you might sit in the nail varnish removal category, which is part of a tier 1 category, which is beauty. And the ambition that you have to have is to get your product detail pages circulating in the higher categories. And if you do this, then that increases your bestseller ranking. And if you increase your bestseller ranking, it drives more organic sales. So we have, in summary, we create defensive strategies to protect your brand, and then we create offensive strategies around these 3 pillars. Thanks, Maria. So the second unit that we use is sponsored brand advertising. Now, this unit is only open to sellers and vendors that have gone through the brand registry program, or brands that are selling through resellers can also sign up to brand registry as well and use this unit. It sits at the top of the page. It enables you to pull in more than 1 product, up to 3 products, and also have a custom image within it as well. Now, the use of it is around around sponsored brand words and sponsored product words to make sure that consumers who are searching for your products and your brand can sample more of your products. It gives them a view about what your wider portfolio is. Secondly, we use it around awareness, so broad search terms as well, and category targeting. Again, more higher up the funnel around awareness. It's really good for driving. Consumers can click on either of the units and drive through to the product detail page, or what we try and encourage is users to go through to your brand store within the Amazon, where they can have a deeper experience with your products and brand. One key component to that is around you can track new to brand customers through the sponsor brand unit, but it's a key component for driving success. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Maria. Another unit is sponsored display, and you can use this through the Amazon console, but you also use display through the DSP, and we'll come on to that in a bit. The two key areas for this, you can see the units on the right. One of on the right-hand side, I think it says Mason has got the ad unit, and then there's another Brewdog ad right next to it. So again, we use this around the two strategies, around being defensive. So we target all of our clients' product detail pages with to defend the position with either a companion product or the same product to make sure a competitor doesn't come in and steal the sale. Equally, we can be quite aggressive, and you can create offensive strategies. And that's where you create, there's work that needs to be done around creating who your competitors are and at the right price point, so that there's an opportunity for you to go through and serve your ad against the product detail page when the consumers at purchase intent and steal their sale. So that's how you use that. But equally, we can use it for retargeting as well. However, we find that retargeting through the DSP is more effective, and we'll come on to that in a bit. Thank you, Maria. Video is becoming a lot more prevalent on Amazon, probably slower to market than the rest of the web. However, there's now opportunity to use video across your wider ecosystem within the Amazon, within your Amazon ecosystem, including your sponsored product detail pages, your brand store, but also now video. We use this as a tool to push a more branded message. However, it's really good to be able to give information on the product within this as well. It sits at halfway down the category pages and the product pages, and also there's a unit at the bottom. We recommend that you, on a length of time, you do between 5 and 15 seconds, but it's a really key component for raising awareness and driving impressions from the wider ecosystem through to your brand store. Thank you, Maria. And then I think a key component which is often overlooked, and we use it often across our whole client base for using different strategies, but it's a key component to scale, is the Amazon DSP, which is a platform that allows you to buy advertising programmatically and reach new and existing audiences on Amazon, and equally off Amazon, which is key. You can drive consumers to your Amazon product detail pages, but equally you can use the rich data that Rupert mentioned at the beginning to drive consumers to your own website and drive loyalty there. So, you know, it's very good for developing brand awareness. It's great for boosting consideration because the Amazon ecosystem is competitive. And if you can engage consumers outside of the ecosystem and then bring them in, it gives you a point of difference against many of your competitors. It's also great for fueling purchase behavior and retargeting. It's unique data segments, as Rupert mentioned, and it's all shopper behavior and it's purchase data. So you can create segments around demographics, you can create segments around interest, lifestyle, and in market. So you can build out audiences based on anyone who has accessed your products in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, up to a year. You can create audience segments of anyone who's bought from your competitors over that time period. And it's a clever way of engaging consumers and driving your Amazon strategy. Thanks, Maria. Over to you, Rupert.
Thanks, Dan. So how do we approach the account structure? So thanks, Maria. We have a fairly considered and well thought through process for setting up sponsored ads on Amazon. This sort of roadmap process gives you an idea of the critical actions that we take. So first up, if you have a large portfolio of products, we don't recommend you advertise everything in one go. Best to start with your top sellers. So the selection and classification process is key. We then ensure there is a campaign tracker. So the campaign is not simply one line. It can be tens, it can be hundreds of lines of activity. So it's important to kind of be able to track that carefully. And then we build out your keyword mapping. So looking at various tools that we use to understand and analyze the key search terms and keywords that are going to be driving the most activity. We then regularly will start with what's called automated sponsored product campaigns. So this is where we use the Amazon algorithm to essentially do a lot of the scraping for us in the early stages, which enables us to identify very quickly which keywords and which search terms are attracting the most attention. And then from that point, we refine the research around keywords and also the competitor analysis with a view to then setting up sponsored product campaigns on a manual basis, which enables us to use far more of the tools around brand, category, and competitor targeting. We will then look at building out to your sponsored brand campaign. So if you are a brand registered company, then we can use that top slot as Dan described, and then start to identify, which are the 3 products that you want to advertise there. Take advantage of some of the sort of more advanced tools around imagery to kind of make it a more attractive ad unit, and also develop your own headline to try and draw the consumer in, which is it's a very powerful ad unit when you get that right. And then really it's a sponsored product advertising. So on console advertising on Amazon is an always on approach. It is not like other standard advertising. It's not a sort of on for a period of time, off for a period of time. You need to be on all the time. The investment is lower, so you don't have to be spending vast sums of money to keep this always on. But it's important to essentially game the algorithm. So we're optimizing continuously and reviewing keywords and search terms on a continuous basis, so that you are forever trying to increase and improve your bestseller ranking. And the seller ranking is the key component. We build a structure around the targeting and the sort of more tactical approach. On the keyword targeting on the left-hand side, and then the product and category targeting, we go through some detailed setup which ensures that we're looking at all the minutiae of targeting at a category level, your competitor ratings, and also at a sort of more top line brand level. And then on the keyword side, again, it's the same approach, but we're going right down to the sort of micro level of targeting to ensure that we're identifying and then also able to track which keywords and which search terms are driving best performance. One of the things that clients will often bring up is, well, why should I advertise on my own brand? And Dan mentioned it in his speech about defensive strategies. It is absolutely critical that you advertise on your own branded search terms, because it's very easy for competitors to steal that, to steal that view and steal that purchase potentially. So that's always an important part. But remember, it's highly likely that 20% of your searches will be on your own brand, but it'll always be the larger portion, 80%, that will be searching on non-branded search terms. So you need that combination of both to really drive optimum performance. Thank you, Maria. So lastly, how do we use the different tools available to us? Quite critically, we use a few. There are a number on the market, although not that many when you consider the what's available within the sort of Google ecosystem. Carpio is one that we use a lot because it gives you a complete view on your performance across your organic but also your advertising sales, and how these, how you are performing at a category level, at a product level, at a keyword level. This is all invaluable insight to understanding how you're performing against your own product portfolio, against your competitor product portfolio, and then what is driving most searches. What are people looking for at any given time, so that you can start to tactically entice people into your brand and your products. So Carpio is very useful in that regard, and Carpio can also give you a cross marketplace access. So if you're selling on Amazon, but you're also selling on eBay, or you're selling on Zalando, or you're selling on your owned and operated Shopify, Magento site, Carpio has the ability to combine all those different e-commerce data sets into one easy to use and easy to understand dashboard. Next up, Helium 10, well-known software, US business, very, very good for keyword search and a number of other capabilities. It's a sophisticated platform. We often use it to understand how competitors are performing at a keyword and a search term level. It's important, and with this particular product, Cerebro, to understand the relevancy and resonance of certain keywords. So we use that regularly to look at the market as a whole, and then be able to break that down at an individual client level to ensure that we've got the best possible keyword analysis. And then also they have a reverse product lookup, which again, it's another dimension on how to understand what are the key keywords and search terms that are being generated when looking at your competitors. And also it's very important to use these tools to help drive some of your product development, new product development. It's an important part of determining what products you should be actively promoting and selling at any given time in the year.
And can I just add to that, Rupert? In addition to that, we use the technology to fuel campaigns through the DSP. So we have brands that aren't on Amazon that work with us, and through this technology, we can identify which resellers are performing really well of their products, and we can build out audience segments based on that knowledge using these technologies to then build out DSP campaigns where we activate across the open marketplace, all through private marketplaces, and driving consumers back to our clients' websites. Thanks, Rupert.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. Quite right. So in summary, just as a bit of a recap, looking at the whole sort of advertising stack that is available through Amazon, all aspects of the Amazon ecosystem are continuously becoming more sophisticated. They are hugely competitive now with the search side of life, so Google, or the social side of life, Facebook or Meta. So it's really important that when you're looking at Amazon from an e-commerce perspective, don't forget you are looking at Amazon as a retail media opportunity. It is where most consumers are actively engaged and actively shopping. But that means they are open to seeing advertising across the open web as well as on Amazon's own platform. So in summary, don't just look at Amazon from a search perspective on the shop. Look at it from the perspective of the holistic, what can we achieve by building cohorts of audience based on transactional data, which anecdotally will perform far better than any other advertising platform out there. I think that concludes it from our side. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please by all means ask away. If you do and we don't have time, which we're running out of now, then we will happily take those questions on email in the chat and come back to you directly.